my first guest right here to my right, Susan Reif from Tuxedo Park, New York, nearby Orange County. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm thrilled that you were able to make it finally, being able to take a Friday to dedicate to the show here. Now, tell me a little bit about, again, I'm joking around when I showed up to the TV, but this is the copy of the book. I'm very proud of it. This was designed by Rosemary, the owner of Group M, and the layout of the book was designed by her, and you worked on it with you. I had absolutely nothing to do with the book other than to publicize it a little bit every now and again, get you an occasional article here and there, and I'm very pleased to be able to help you out. Tell me a little bit about your journey. You know, you're a breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
You've been so since 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I was diagnosed in 2006, and then I had some chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and by 2007, May 1st, I did a little dance around the maypole because all the treatment worked, and right now I'm 7 years cancer-free, so very
Beautiful.
Very happy, yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Exactly. Say it loud, say it proud.
Yes.
Now, we've talked about this before, but for our audience, who obviously hasn't heard this yet, and some people, certainly I'm sure in our audience, have either known somebody who has had cancer or has experienced it themselves and are either battling it or have, like yourself, conquered it. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you when you first heard that diagnosis? You know, you don't expect it necessarily, but all of a sudden your doctor says, Houston, we have a problem. You know, walk me through that and tell me what that feels like. Well,
it was a routine mammogram that discovered it. So I went in just expecting a routine mammogram, and a few days after the initial one, I got called back. Spent a very long time, a full day, having more tests and biopsies, and a few days later discovering, yes, I have stage 3 aggressive breast cancer. So there is no way to describe it except to say maybe it feels like you're walking down the street on a perfectly sunny day, happy-go-lucky, and all of a sudden you get smacked to the ground by just news that comes out of nowhere. Because again, it was routine mammogram. There were no symptoms, nothing. So it was difficult.
Now, how long had you been? I know there are some people who are hesitant to get checks like that, checked up like that, whether it's for your prostate or for breast cancer or any kind of, people don't want to know and they are hesitant to do those sorts of things. How long at that point had you been getting the routine, as you call it, the routine mammogram?
It had been
but that wasn't your first time getting one.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
So
I probably had 5. I started in my late 30s, and this was diagnosed when I was 43, so probably 5 before this one.
And like you said, you weren't expecting, you go in for a test and you figure, okay, I'm in, clean bill of health. Thank you, doctor. I'm on my way, and here's my copay or whatever it is, and you're on your merry way. But like you said, this is something that just struck you and hit out of the blue. So what's the next step? How do you cope? What do you do? I mean, I know it's a difficult thing to even reconcile. I can't imagine it myself. But what happened to you?
Well, it was the next probably 3 weeks were just a total whirlwind. I went immediately see doctor after doctor after doctor, test, and the doctor said, look, here's what we're going to do. This is aggressive. We need to address it right now, right away. And 10 days later, I was getting my first chemotherapy treatment. So you don't have a whole lot of time to do anything except focus on getting everything that needs to be done before you start chemotherapy, all the tests, all the exams, everything you need to do. One of the things they did do, and I'm just so very thankful, is they did a full body PET scan, and came out, thankfully it hadn't spread even with the aggressive stage 3, and so we were able to go into the chemotherapy. The idea was to reduce the tumor to a point where it would be small enough to remove without major surgery. Was able to have a lumpectomy and then do some radiation. So very it just, once you hear the news, the first thing you do is you fight. I mean, that's the first thing I did. I looked at my mother and I said, this is not going to beat me, and I'm not going to miss watching my niece and nephew grow up. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to beat this. So we all went into fight mode.
And that's part of what your book is about, this network that you had of support.
Right.
And what to do, what your network can do or shouldn't do necessarily. It's really more of a should do than shouldn't do kind of a book to establish what it is that they can help you do. And we're going to talk about the book after. We're going to take a quick break in a little bit, but then we'll talk about the book. But one of the things that I know I've chided you about, and that is, some of the things that you could do publicity-wise,
Right.
because that's what I do. And one of the things that, and this comes to mind, and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. One of the celebrities that's out there, Angelina Jolie, was very controversially had a she had a surgical procedure done to remove her breasts because she felt that her family history was that she thought she would develop breast cancer at some point, so she decided to say, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this while I can. That's not an option for a lot of people. You need to have quite a great healthcare plan or a whole lot of money to do that. I don't want to criticize a person for what they choose to do, and I don't want to put you in a position to do that either. But at what point, you're talking about, when you first heard the diagnosis, your choice was fight, and you were able to fight, and that's a great thing. Did you have a health plan that enabled you to be able to make the choice you wanted to make, or were you limited? And the reason I ask that, and I don't want to get too personal, but I hate to think that someone's going to be limited in their choice of what they can or can't do. I just that bothers me. I don't like that concept, and I want you to comment on those things more and more, and blog about them so you can get attention for your book. But that's beside the point.
I'm going to answer actually.
And there's a big loaded question. In there.
Yeah, and I will address both.
Right.
I heard really two big issues. The first issue is I did have the genetic testing because I have a mother and I have a sister and I have a niece. So. The point of me getting the genetic testing was not just for myself, it was to find out, were we all going to have to make some very difficult decisions? Thankfully, I don't carry the gene, so that piece of it, finding that information out, took that or those troubling decisions away from us, which was a wonderful thing. In terms of criticizing anybody, I would not ever say a word about the way anybody dealt with their disease. There's many kinds of cancer, there's many kinds of treatment. My feeling is that you evaluate what your options are, you determine where you are in life, you look at your healthcare may or may not be an issue for you, and you make those decisions. There are plenty of people who find out they carry the gene and don't have surgery, and there are plenty who do have the preemptive. Again, I don't know what I would do in that instance, and I certainly wouldn't want to say anything about anybody. But in terms of the healthcare issue, I was very fortunate. I did have very good healthcare. Worked for an employer who was very wonderful in terms of flexibility. But one of the things I will say is that one of my doctors was not on my plan. And at that point, for me, it was, this is my doctor. This is the person I have researched, I've been referred to. I'm going to this doctor.
And that's got to be stressful for you when you find that out, too.
It is, and but at that point, it's your life or your money. And you know what? You make the decision that if you decide that this is the doctor that you're going to, and again, this is me. Other people may do it differently, but I talked with the doctor. We talked about the fact that he wasn't on my plan. He said, look, we'll work this out. I mean, they tell you, talk. What's the worst the doctor can say is no, you're going to take everything I bill. This doctor was flexible. I said, you're not on my insurance. He said, we'll work something out. I'm not here to become rich. I'm here to save people's lives. So for me, good. That's the thing. There's plenty of places to get free mammograms. There's really, in my opinion, no way that people don't have access to mammograms these days, and I would highly encourage people to get them. 362-0013 is our phone number. We would like you to participate if you have any questions for Sue Reif. She's here talking about her book, 39 Things to Make a Cancer Patient Smile. It's for family and friends. 362-0013 is our phone number. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the book. And where do you go from here? Right after these messages. Don't go away.
Mattresses have a lifespan. A terrible night's sleep is a sign yours may be near its end. See the experts at Raymore and Flanagan and improve how well you sleep with the best prices in the Northeast. Over 50 different mattress styles to choose from. Save up to $250 on Stearns & Foster, $500 on Beautyrest Black. Sealy or Serta queen sets start at $399. Tempur-Pedic as low as $13.99. Free next day delivery, setup, and old mattress removal. Raymore and Flanagan.
AM 1300 Radio Rockland.
Welcome back, everybody. 1222. It's Jeff Lewis with the Raymore and Flanagan Community News Lunch Hour. My guest today, for the first half of our show, Susan Reif of Tuxedo Park, New York. She's a breast cancer survivor and the author of the book For Family and Friends, 39 Things to Make a Cancer Patient Smile. Now, tell me a little bit about the book. What brought you have the diagnosis, you go through the treatment, you succeed, you conquer cancer. What comes next? You decide to write the book. Tell me how you bridged to that decision and how you came about, writing the book.
Okay, absolutely. Here's the thing. Everybody knows somebody who has cancer or who has been diagnosed with cancer. So after you get past the initial shock and you get past, okay, I pray that this person is going to be okay, what's the next thing that comes to your mind? What can I do to help? Now, if everybody else is similar to me, and in this instance I'm thinking most people are, what can I do to help? But I don't know what to do. And I don't know how to get started. And I just don't know what to do. Well, when I got sick, apparently there's lots of people out there who knew what to do, because I had this incredible group of people who supported me in ways large and small, and they were so creative that I needed to share this information. I mean, the things that people thought of to help me keep my spirits up or to keep in touch with me were just beyond my wildest imagination. And as I'm going through it, I'm realizing how important all these things that people are doing for myself, for my family, to help us get through this. And how do you pay something back like that? You pay it forward. And so, hence the idea for the book. And I sat down, I had some time, I wrote the book, and and my goal, my one and only goal for this book, is that cancer patients out there have somebody around them who knows what to do. And now I've learned 39 things that people can do. I want to share those.
And among those 39 things, there are lots of things that are very, they're the little tiny things that you don't think about, that you take for granted on a daily basis. For example, knitting a cap.
Right.
That sort of a thing. That's one of the things that somebody knows somebody in your family or your friend, a circle of friends who can knit.
Right.
Okay, that person can sit down and you wouldn't even think to do that. But the book helps guide you into those things. And there are plenty of things that people do that they don't even realize is so helpful. And I think part of the issue is that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that, when you hear, like if you told me now, oh, Jeff, I have cancer.
God forbid.
Right, exactly, God forbid. But, now all of a sudden, it's a socially awkward, and I hate to, make that's not even the point of the whole discussion. Like, if I were to tell you the same thing, oh, by the way, I have cancer, God forbid, now all of a sudden you're sitting here and going, holy, you just dumped a whole big load of social awkwardness on my head. How can I help? There's that whole etiquette that comes into play when something that dire comes between two friends, two family members, and the book, to me, helps give you ideas to bridge those sorts of things. Be a friend. Drive to, one of the tips was, drive to an appointment. Well, right. Sure, that to me is a no-brainer. That's the sort of thing that, but we don't realize those are the things that we can do. What are some of the things that people surprised you with that, like some of the examples of, to get over that awkwardness of how do you deal with a friend who's now all of a sudden in this terrible, terrible place? How do I make them feel better? What are some of those things that really made you feel better?
Oh, there's so many. But to start with, the smaller things that people can do are to pick up the phone and call and just say, hey, I'm thinking about you.
And not just text.
No, you can text. Text is fine, too, because text is socially acceptable now.
It is, of course it is.
Email is socially acceptable.
Hearing a voice is a good thing, too.
Hearing a voice is really a good thing. The difference between the text and the email these days and the phone is with the text and the email, the person gets the message. With the phone, if they're not feeling well enough to answer the phone, they won't get the message immediately or directly. And they may tell you, you know what, I'm not feeling well enough to talk on the phone now, but thank you, I appreciate that you called. And that's okay. Don't not call because of that. But text and email, perfectly acceptable. Absolutely. Without a doubt. One of my favorite things, somebody was so very creative. She took a bunch of old postcards, and every week during my treatment, I received a postcard from someplace all around the world. And on every postcard, she wrote a story about, she imagined that she had taken me on a journey around the world, and these were our postcards. And so she was, on the back of the postcard, telling me what we were doing in every location. So if we went to the Grand Canyon, she wrote a nice story about how we took the mules down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and then we took a raft ride down the Colorado River. And then from there we went to southern Arizona, and we went to a spa. And from there we went to California. So I had this just these postcards coming in. Well, she did that because she had access to somebody who printed postcards. But think about it. That's something really easy that somebody could do. You go online, you print a picture of Hawaii, you write a story about it, and you stick it in the mail and you send it to the person, or you do it via email. What a great thing to have to be an escape. It was wonderful. It really was incredible.
That's a great story. 3620013 is our phone number. Just a few minutes left with Sue Reif of Tuxedo Park, I keep saying New Jersey. I don't know why. Tuxedo Park, New York. I don't know why. We do have a caller, so hi, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Jeff. Good afternoon, Susan.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Susan, I just wanted to ask you how people can get your book, or, if there's any donations going to any organizations or anything.
Well, the book is available on Amazon.com, and thank you very much for asking for that. A lot of what I do also with the book is I donate it for fundraising causes. So, for instance, next week, my nephew's school is raising money for breast cancer. So I've donated 20 books to the school, and they'll be selling them, and then the money will be going to Stand Up to Cancer, because that happens to be my favorite organization. But there are plenty of cancer-related organizations, but they did ask me where, and I said Stand Up to Cancer.
Okay, that sounds great. So we can get your book on Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
Anywhere else?
I think it's on BarnesandNoble.com.
And there's CreateSpace.com as well. If you go to any of those sites, if you go to BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com, or CreateSpace.com, and you search for Sue Reif, her last name is spelled R-E-I-F.
Okay.
And search for it that way, and you'll find the cancer book. That's the only book you've written, as far as I know. And but I believe you might have a sequel coming out at some point soon.
Well, possibly. And I did write one earlier when I was in second grade.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
You're right.
Library.
Come on. That's right. You're right. It was in the. Was it the
in the
Sloatsburg
Library?
That's right.
Yes.
The Sloatsburg Library. You're right. I forgot about that one. Very good.
And any fundraisers or walks coming up?
You know what? They usually happen. The big ones usually happen in October, because that's Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And I know Stand Up to Cancer usually does a big one in September. So a lot more of them in the fall. I don't have anything immediately coming up.
Okay, you'll have to keep us posted on that then.
Will do. Thank you.
You have a
Right, have a
Facebook
good
page
day.
where you do have a Facebook page.
Oh, yes, and I do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
You can search by the title of the book, 39 Things to Make a Cancer Patient Smile.
Okay, great. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Bye.
call. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Well, that about wraps up our time here, Sue.
Thank you, Jeff.
I thank the caller for asking my next question, by the way. So it's a paperback book available on Amazon.com, CreateSpace.com, and BarnesandNoble.com as well.
Yes.
Again, it's Sue Reif from Tuxedo Park, New York. With the book, 39 Things, and for family and friends, 39 Things to Make a Cancer Patient Smile. And I hope that you're smiling now, and I see that you are.
I am smiling. Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
you coming on. I appreciate you coming on. I know I've been harassing you a little bit
been.
to come and do this, and I appreciate it. I'm glad you were able to come and join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.